with the performance, and this thing at that time had that Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 chipset, quad-core CPU, Adreno 330 GPU, and 2 different models with 2 gigs of RAM. Now the top tier model had 32 gigs of storage. Now how crazy is that nowadays that is like not even the base model. The iPhone 12 Pros have 128, the iPhone 12s have 64 for base models. This phone at that time had 32 for the max storage. That's actually pretty crazy. Now I think in terms of a performance standpoint, obviously it's not that great of a performing phone anymore, and to be honest, even when I had it like 5 years ago, when this thing was only like 3 or 4 years old, it was pretty much on its last leg in terms of me not custom ROMing it or anything, no custom kernels. It was essentially just a raw phone as it of itself, and it was overheating all the time. I think I've had like 4 or 5 Nexus 5s, at least 4 that I know of, that I actually own as a personal device. That I actually owned, I never used them as a personal device, but I, owned them. I would make videos about them, I think, early on. And, I'm not a humongous fan of the Nexus 5 in terms of a performance standpoint, mostly because of the overheating. But once you get over that, it's actually a pretty fair phone. I think it feels pretty good. It performs fairly good. And the stock Android really helps it out a lot. I think the 800 was the top tier Snapdragon processor of that year, so it wasn't like the G chipset like we have now. So I think that's a good thing. I love seeing that kind of stuff. But this phone at that point, in terms of that performance, dude, it's not a bad performing phone. And because this thing gave you that type of performance at a much lower level, at a much lower price tag, that's another plus point for this device as well. And I think when you get a phone like this, you're going to be set, in terms of performance standpoint at that time. Like I mentioned, it's not really worth it anymore. But at that moment, when you looked at, the iPhone 5S that cost way more and the Galaxy S4 that cost way more, I mean, this thing for that type of performance was actually a pretty decent thing. And I'm actually a fan of that, like I mentioned before. So I think from a performance standpoint, I'm happy with it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It could have been better, yes, but I think where it's at now, it's not that big of a deal, and I'm actually more happy with it than not. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up there. And to kind of sum up this video and answer the question, is this phone still worth it in 2021? Well, I will say completely not. This phone is not worth it anymore, not even a little bit. If you're planning on using this phone as an everyday phone, please avoid it. It is not worth it at all. I'm not, telling you guys to do it, and I'm not going to be held liable if you end up doing it. But this is what I'll tell you, I think this phone is still, a legendary phone in so many different ways. I think this phone had a lot going for it at that time, although it really doesn't have too much going for it anymore. I think it's a great phone in the historical artifact that is Android. I think Android killed it in so many different ways, and I think I'm super happy with this phone still. Now, like I mentioned, there were lots of issues, there were lots of little problems here and there, boot loops and all this stuff, but I think when this phone is, done for it, it's going to be known as a device that really kind of helped shape, Google into becoming that, flagship killer, which it kind of ended up not becoming anymore. I think ever since the Nexus 6, it really kind of ended up changing up, but this was the last Android, in my opinion, from Google that really changed things up for sure. I think since the Pixel 4a. So that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly, everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.